Welcome. Hello, and thank you for joining us for rePRO by Mama Film's special presentation of Resisterhood. Before we get started with our post-show call to action, we want to give thanks to Cecile Richards, co-founder of Supermajority and former president of Planned Parenthood Federation of America, for providing a powerful introduction to the film.
And now, without further ado, we're honored to have some of the incredible advocates and subjects from the film to offer a call to action as we head towards November. Tonight, we are joined by Resisterhood Director CJ Crim, Dr. Gearon, Mimi Hassanein, Joanna Lohman, and Margaret Morrison.
With so much happening in the world, people and situations are often dominated by feelings of outrage and confusion. People are rightfully angry and are demanding answers, but motivation is often born from anger. And that's where we find ourselves today, motivated. What we would like to hear from each of you as we look towards November and the future is what gives you hope. Let's start with you, CJ. What gives you hope?
You are absolutely right. Anger really does motivate us. And we talk about turning anger into action. And I think that that was something that when we all look back on the Women's March that happened in 2017, the day after the inauguration, that was anger that came together in this incredibly positive, uplifting, wonderful event. And that was very hopeful. And that's the kind of feeling that I was hoping to bring about with Resisterhood by following some amazing women who were hopeful and who were standing up. And so what gives me hope are all these ladies that you see around me, the wonderful subjects of Resisterhood. But I have to say that as fabulous as they are, each one of them represents 1, 2, 3, 500,000 other women who are out there, who are writing postcards, who are marching, who are speaking out, who are running for office. And that is so exciting. I think that when Donald Trump was elected, he was like, it was like ripping this scab off a festering wound. And a lot of us, and I have to say, a lot of us white women did not realize how deep that wound went until this man was elected. And so we had to rise up and do something. And we are women, we are the mothers, we're the caregivers, we are the teachers, we are the healers. And so I like to think of us as being the antibiotic that's going to go on this wound that will start to heal this nation so that we can finally turn our country into the country that we want to be in. I think when we look back on this last 4 years, this horrible time in this country, we're going to see it as a catalyst that really changed our country into, or at least put us on the path where we can finally start being the country that really gives equality and justice and dignity and respect to all humans, no matter their race, their color, how they pray, who they marry, what genitals they have on under their clothes. And so that really gives me hope, but it all starts with these women right here. So with that, let me hand it off to Joanna. What gives you hope?
Yes, Cheryl. In an effort not to sound completely basic, but I think about this Confucius quote that I've really tried to live by. And it says that the woman who moves a mountain starts by carrying away small stones. And that's what really gives me hope, is understanding that change comes from small actions consistently over time. And you can see in Resisterhood all of these amazing women, each carrying their own stones. And when I look back, it's like we've all moved a mountain together. And it's funny because I'm an athlete. Of course, it's something physical labor I'm imagining as we're creating this change. But I feel inspired to know that I'm not alone in moving this mountain. I'm not alone in carrying these stones, that I have this incredible support network around me. And regardless of what platform you have, whether it's big or small, we're all contributing to this effort to create this change. And that's what I remember every day when I wake up. I think about Margaret, I think about Jean, I think about Mimi and what they're doing in their lives to really create this change. And it inspires me to get out there, to use my voice. And it's National Coming Out Day, so it's just as important today, especially to use my voice to really help people feel comfortable in their own skin and to really help them to understand that we can all make a positive difference in this world. So that's what provides me hope. And I want to ask Margaret, what provides you hope?
Well, for this Black woman, hope sometimes seems so nebulous that I can't quite hold it. It's like smoke evaporating in thin air, because just when I think there is so much to be hopeful for, an event occurs that puts me in despair. But that doesn't mean that I stop hoping, because hope springs eternal. I am hopeful even when things seem so dire and beyond repair. And that's one of the reasons why I keep marching. And I keep marching with like-minded people who believe in the same issues that I do. I was so hopeful when the 1954 Brown versus Board of Education Act was passed, that overturned the Plessy versus Ferguson. But then all of the turmoil that happened after that, but that didn't stop me from being hopeful that enough people believed like me that something had to happen to make our democracy be really a representative democracy. I had so much hope when I participated in the march ending in Montgomery in 1965. And I felt so proud of myself because I was one of the ones who brought forth the 1965 Voting Rights Act. And yet today, I find that voting is still a barrier to so many people. And I was very hopeful when President Obama was elected, not only in 2008, but 2012. But then I realized that the chains that bound the necks of the enslaved were not yet loosened. But I still kept marching because that's the only way that we can affect change. So it was my pleasure when Cheryl Crim invited me to participate in the Women's March, because for the first time on such a large screen with such a large audience, I did not feel alone. I felt as a part of a group that was pushing like me to make a representative democracy work for everybody. And so that gave me so much hope. But even more than that was the 2018 primary election that brought forth so many fantastic women on the scene on a national level. But my hope didn't just dim, it brightened, because Black Lives Matter issue was taken up by so many white people. It was the first time in my 84 years that I can recall more white people addressing the issues of social justice and equality than I had ever seen. And you couldn't help but smile. You couldn't help but be hopeful. And so that hope springs eternal. I believe for the first time in my life that nebulous thing that keeps escaping me is here to stay. And I await with all the confidence in the world with a tomorrow's promise with our 2020 election. I think we're there, and it's because of people like you who have placed us there. And it's people like you who will make sure that our hope is crystallized in every decision that we make to bring equality and justice to all of us. All of us. I have a lot of hope. And Jean.
Oh, thank you, Margaret. You are my hero, as everybody else is too, including Cheryl. For me, hope comes from a few sources. One is, when people have been traumatized or, threatened, as we were after the 2016 election, individuals and communities, our way of living in the world, our government, there's a tendency sometimes to fall into despair, to fall into helplessness. And that's exactly what this administration wanted people to do, was just kind of like be bulldozed over and kind of become helpless. But what we saw was kind of the American experience, or people coming together, right? And action is always the antidote to scary, traumatic, threatening events. And when I emailed my book club, the day after the election, and was thinking 8 people would come over, and 30 to 40 showed up, I saw a lot of people thirsty for action, and that gave me hope. And that's only continued across this administration. You see more groups, more actions, more things happening. So seeing all the actions and the diversity of actions and the amount of work that people are doing instills a deep sense of hope in me. The second thing is the community. That's contagious, right? So when other people are taking action, like at the march or writing postcards or whatever, that is contagious. And when it spreads goodness like that, the swell of the wave can be even bigger. So the fact that people aren't in isolation, but they're doing it together is very inspiring to me, but it's also inspiring to everybody else. You know, and the third thing is that, you know, when things disintegrate or fall apart or burn down, you have this opportunity to rebuild stronger. And the more we get closer to the election, the more I feel that we're going to rebuild ourselves in a stronger, better way, that this disintegration or this traumatic experience we've all gone through together for the past 4 years, and it only gets worse with each passing day, you know, that there's now this opportunity based on hope and action that we're going to rebuild society's, you know, view of each other, hopefully, and the government in a way that's healthier for all of us. So that's enough. Mimi.
All right. Okay. Thank you, everybody. I am so excited. What gives me hope, I am already, it's seeing that we have the first vice president being a woman that is going to be in the White House. Hope accomplishment.
Yes, Margaret's got to show her shirt.
That is the hope that we were looking for. So, you know, after we got the, you know, President Trump in the White House, women were waking up, and I'm all about empowering women, you know, and they said enough is enough. And we're not gonna be quiet. And if we can run our household, we definitely can run the country. So we all got together and says, we're here to stay. We're not going anywhere. And also what gives me hope is that we really did empower the immigrant woman. And we really empowered every single person out there to go out and vote and learn about their civic duty, especially for the immigrant community. A lot of us don't understand the American system, and we think we immigrated here because great, there's democracy, it's freedom, we can say what we want, we can do what we want. But I always tell them, no, there is nothing here is free except buy one, get one free. So if you really want to enjoy your freedom, you gotta learn about your civic duty. You gotta have a seat at the table. You're gonna have to have your voice heard and make changes and be, speak up. And especially for women's issue, there is no one is gonna write our history, and no one is gonna speak on what we need. With the law, you know, women's suffrage has been there for a long time, right? And look, now we have a vice president who is a woman. It's just like, so this is hope for me. Hope is here, and hope is the stay, and we just need to be getting together and working harder and inspiring everybody by our story.
A lot of people think that a vote doesn't matter. Think of it this way. If you matter, and you do, your vote matters also. I urge you, go voice your beliefs through the simple act of voting.
Voting is very important, and we really have to practice our right. And we really have to go out and vote and encourage everybody to vote. Because if you want to make a difference, your vote counts. So go out and vote. Please do.
Yeah, please go out and vote, exercise your democratic right. Your voice matters, your vote matters, and it all makes a difference.
Go vote. In order to make a change, we got to get out the vote. And if we get passive and helpless, nothing's going to happen. Get your sister to vote, your brother to vote, your kids to vote, your grandparents to vote, your neighbors to vote, everybody.
Your vote is your voice. So you need to speak out. You need to use your voice. You need to vote, because when we vote, we win.
Thank you to our special guests and you, our audience, for participating in rePRO by Mama Film's screening of Resisterhood.
We hope our audience will identify the tools and platforms you have available to help motivate others in your village to form a voting plan. It's vitally important we all use whatever we have at our disposal to make a difference this election cycle.
For more information on how to form a voting plan, please visit Resisterhood's website at resisterhooddoc.com. Go vote.